March 15th, 2024. Vertical bar 6:45 in the morning, Glacier County Hospital. Vertical bar, emergency room. Nurse. Patricia Coleman's hands shook as she held up her cell phone, trying to film what nobody back home would believe. 3 German shepherds, a big gray mother, and 2 pups no bigger than shoeboxes had formed a wall around the hospital stretcher. They weren't mean about it, no sir. They just held onto that man's torn work jacket with their teeth, gentle-like, as if he might disappear if they let go. "Get those animals out of my emergency room," Dr. Webb hollered over the beeping machines. The thermometer showed the man's body temperature at 94 degrees, cold enough that most hearts just plain give up. Maria Gonzalez, the ambulance driver, still had blood under her fingernails from trying to separate them. "Doc, we tried everything. The mother dog, she won't let go." Rodriguez nearly lost his hand when he reached for the medicine tube. The plastic bracelet on the patient's wrist caught the bright lights. Donovan Raymond. Age 46. Nobody to call. Sheriff Travis. Holt's voice crackled through Maria's radio. "That Ray Donovan you got there? The drunk who killed Jim Morrison." Maria pressed the button. "Yes, sir, that's him." Long pause. Nothing but static, like the old days when the weather knocked out the signal. Then, "Well, I'll be... dogs protecting him." "Yes, sir, won't leave his side for nothing." "Dogs must be touched in the head. Ray Donovan ain't worth protecting." But Maria watched that gray mother's eyes clear as spring water, smart as any person's. Not crazy. Something else entirely. The dog's breathing matched the man's, heavy and hard, like they were sharing the same worn-out lungs. A streak of the man's frozen blood had dried on her snout. The littlest pup, barely 3 weeks old if that, had wedged itself against Donovan's neck, its tiny body giving what little warmth it had. The other pup stood guard at his feet, growling soft and low whenever anyone came near with their doctoring equipment. "Body's been below 95 degrees for at least 6 hours, Dr. Webb muttered, checking his charts. "Should be dead as a doornail. Backbones broke at the lower part, frostbite on everything that was exposed. What in Sam Hill was he doing out there?" Patricia noticed something peculiar as she wrote down the injuries. The frostbite on Donovan's hands wasn't regular-like. His palms were torn to ribbons, like he'd been holding onto hot coals, but his fingers, the parts that would have been curled around something, looked better. "Come look at this," she whispered to Maria, lifting the man's right hand real careful. Stuck in the ruined flesh were tiny gray and brown hairs. Dog fur, frozen right into the wounds. Maria leaned close. The smell hit her first, not the usual stink of whiskey and sickness that followed Ray Donovan around town like a shadow. Just ice. The copper smell of blood. And something else. Wood ash, like a campfire that had burned through everything, even things that shouldn't burn. "What's his blood alcohol?" Patricia asked, expecting the worst. Dr. Webb checked the test results twice, then once more for good measure. 0, stone cold sober. The room went quiet except for the machines keeping time and that mother dog's chest rumbling, not a growl exactly. More like how the old folks used to hum hymns under their breath during hard times. "That can't be right." Sheriff Holt's voice cut through the radio static. "Ray Donovan hasn't drawn a sober breath since 2014. Check again. But the test didn't lie. Whatever happened out there in that blizzard, Ray Donovan had faced it without his liquid courage. The man who'd been hiding in a bottle for 10 years had spent 3 days in frozen hell, wide awake and feeling every minute of it. The mother dog suddenly raised her big head, looking right at Patricia. In those yellow-brown eyes was something that made the veteran nurse take a step back. Not animal thinking, not training neither. Recognition, like she was memorizing every face in that room, keeping score for later. "We need to put them to sleep with medicine to treat him proper." Dr. Webb reached for a needle. The mother's rumble got deeper. The kind of sound that reminded everybody in that room that tame was just a word folks made up to feel safer. Her muscles bunched up under that matted fur. "Wait," Patricia said quiet-like. "Just wait a minute." She got down on her knees beside the stretcher, meeting the dog's eyes straight on. "We're trying to help him. Like you did." That dog held her stare for 10 heartbeats. Then, real slow, She let go of Donovan's jacket. One by one, her pups did the same. They didn't leave, wouldn't leave, but they pulled back just enough for the doctors to work. As they wheeled Donovan toward surgery, the dogs followed like shadows. The mother's government tag caught the light, some federal number. Nobody could read proper a number that would later unlock a story nobody saw coming. Patricia picked up her phone. Still recording. She looked close at Donovan's face. Under all that frostbite and hurt, under 10 years of drinking himself to death, she saw something that had no business being there. Peace. The kind of peace that only comes from finally, after so many wasted years, doing something right. Before we continue, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. Social worker Sarah Walker's boots crunched through ice-crusted mud at mile marker 89. The old Ford pickup sat empty, driver's door hanging open like a broken gate. Ice covered the bench seat thick as window frost in January. Quarter tank of gas still in her, keys dangling from the ignition switch. She took pictures with her little camera. The mess frozen to the door, yellow-green sick mixed with blood. The shakes. Any drunk knows that mess. Her thermometer read 31 below. Nobody walks away from that because they want to. Murphy's got the store camera film ready. Deputy Rodriguez called from his patrol car. Sarah climbed in, grateful for the heater working overtime. The computer screen showed fuzzy black and white pictures from February 28th near midnight. Ray Donovan at the register, hands shaking so bad he dropped his wallet twice. Harold Murphy sliding that familiar brown bag bottle across the counter. $8.99. Same purchase Sarah had written down in her parole reports every week for 12 months straight. Every 3 days. Murphy's voice came through the radio, scratchy like the old CB radios truckers used. Regular as church bells since he got out. Sarah pulled up the weather warning from March 1st, red letters screaming, "Danger, stay inside," deadly cold, wind making it feel like 42 below. "So he drives out here instead," Rodriguez muttered, shaking his head. "Makes no sense." Sarah stepped back into that mean cold, following the paw prints in the snow. They led away from the truck, straight into the wind. 3 sets, 1 big, 2 small. The way they walked, those dogs weren't running from something. They were leading somewhere. Her phone buzzed. Message from Patricia at the hospital. Blood test shows 0 alcohol, completely sober. Sarah stopped walking. Ray Donovan sober during a blizzard meant the shakes, seeing things that weren't there, maybe dying within hours without medicine. She'd seen it before. Drunks trying to quit cold turkey rarely made it past 2 days. She knelt beside the tracks. Drops of frozen blood dotted the snow between the paw prints. Not people blood, the spray pattern was wrong. She scraped some into an evidence bag. Her flashlight caught something shiny beside the trail. A dog tag, government kind. The number started with 4R7. The rest was scratched up beyond reading. Government dogs didn't just wander around Montana. They were tracked, watched, valuable. Rodriguez's radio crackled. "Walker, you need to hear this. Rancher Thompson just called. Says 3 dogs killed 2 of his sheep February 25th. German shepherds. 1 grown, 2 pups." Sarah stared at the blood in her bag, then at that government tag. Sheep killers didn't wear federal tags. Detective Marcus Brennan's rubber gloves squeaked against the evidence bag holding Ray Donovan's work jacket. The police lab smelled like that strong cleaner they use in hospitals mixed with something sharp that made your nose itch. Under those bright white lights, everything looked wrong. "Found this 200 yards from the truck," Sarah Walker said, setting her coffee cup on the metal table. Steam rose up, fogging her glasses. Brennan spread the jacket flat. The zipper was fine, not broken, no rips like somebody yanked it off him. He turned it inside out. The lining wasn't just torn. Somebody had ripped it into strips on purpose. German shepherd fur, gray and brown, pushed so deep into the cloth it had become part of it. "He wrapped them up," Brennan muttered. His fingers traced the blood spots on the collar. "Look here. This blood splatter faces outward. He took off his only protection against that killing cold and used it like a blanket." Sarah pulled out a crumpled receipt, edges brown with old blood. Coleman's Pet Supply, March 2nd, 6 in the morning. The items made Brennan's throat tight. Big dog puppy food, $24.99. Wool blankets, 3 of them, $31.50. Medical gauze rolls, $5.94. Germ-killing spray, $5. All told, $67.43, paid in cash. I pulled his money records, Sarah said. This was his unemployment check, his last penny until the 15th. Brennan did the math in his head. 13 days without money. Going through the shakes, he'd need liquor within 3 days or risk dying. He chose dog food. The memory card reader clicked as Brennan pushed in the damaged card from Donovan's pocket. The computer screen filled up slow, broken picture files loading piece by piece. Picture 001 time. Stamp said 3:42 in the morning. Donovan's hands lit by cell phone light, pulling apart his truck's door panels. Pictures 002 through 009. Building a windbreak, using the panels, a tarp from his truck bed, tree branches. Picture 048. 4 pieces of beef jerky laid on the snow, 1 big piece, 2 tiny ones, 1 medium. The piece for the person was smallest. Picture 094. Everything blurry. A crack like a gun going off, but not a gun. A pine tree, heavy with ice, splitting. Pictures 095 through 128, pure black. Camera lens covered up. Picture 129. The image that made Sarah's coffee cup stop halfway to her mouth. Donovan's body bent over 3 shapes, that big pine trunk hanging inches above them, his back taking all the weight, his face lit by a slice of moonlight through the storm, twisted up not in pain but in pure determination, blood running from his nose, his ears. The timestamp showed he held this position for 4 whole minutes before the camera died. "Good Lord," Brennan whispered, then crossed himself quick. Rodriguez knocked, came in with a box of evidence. Ash tests from the scene came back. Brennan read the chemical report. Not wood ash, paper ash. Special ink and chemicals found in government papers. He sifted through the black remains. A partly burned edge showed blue ink. Vehicle registration. Another piece, surance policy. He burned his papers to keep the fire going, Rodriguez said. Everything that proved he owned anything. Sarah's phone buzzed. Lab results on that blood from the trail. She read, frowned, read again. It's not from sheep. It's deer blood, fresh kill. The dogs were hunting deer, not sheep. Then why did Thompson lie about his sheep? Brennan asked. Same reason everybody lies about Ray Donovan. It's easier to blame him than look closer. Brennan pulled up Donovan's phone. Found in his pocket, screen cracked but working. The notes section had 17 drafts, none sent. Each one started the same. Claire, I need you to know the truth about that night. All written this past year. All deleted without sending. Sarah found the box marked Morrison, J. 2014 inches in the evidence room. The police pictures showed skid marks 40 feet of rubber on the road. Brennan had worked enough wrecks to know panic braking when he saw it. These marks show swerving, he said, not straight-on hitting. The death report was normal enough. Cause of death heart gave out after getting hit, but paperclip to the back, dated just 6 days ago, was an add-on from the medical examiner. Blood alcohol 0.31. Note first report had it wrong. Decimal in the wrong place, said 0.03. The man was drunk as they come. Also, security film from Bailey's bar, thought lost, shows Morrison leaving the place at 11:47 at night. Couldn't walk straight. Walked into traffic against the red light. Brennan's desk phone rang. Detective, this is Claire Morrison. I'm sitting in your parking lot. I need to tell you something about my husband's death. Something I should have said 10 years back. Sarah and Brennan looked at each other. Through the window, they could see a woman in a blue car, hands gripping the wheel. Mrs. Morrison, Brennan said, careful-like. Would you like to come inside? No. You come out here. Bring a recorder. I'm only saying this once. They grabbed their equipment, but as they reached the door, Rodriguez's radio crackled, urgent-like. All units. Got a federal marshal at the hospital asking about a missing police dog. Says the dog was protecting a witness family. Says if we found her, we got 24 hours before some real dangerous folks figure out where she went. Brennan looked at the trail camera picture still on his screen. Donovan's body shielding those dogs. He hadn't just been protecting animals. He'd been protecting witnesses. Claire Morrison's fingers left wet marks on the steering wheel. Detective Brennan's tape recorder blinked red between them. Her breath fogged up the windshield. "Jim was drunk," she said. The words dropped like stones in still water. .31 blood alcohol. I knew it soon as they brought me to see. Her voice caught. The whiskey smell. Same brand he'd been drinking since we got married. Brennan kept the recorder steady. Through the passenger window, he watched Sarah Walker's reflection, writing everything down. Ray swerved to miss him. Claire's wedding ring clicked against the wheel as she squeezed harder. The security film from Bailey's bar proves it. Jim stumbled into traffic against the red light. Ray had 2 seconds. He chose the telephone pole instead of hitting my husband. Why didn't you? Because Jim was trying for foreman at the mill. A drunk jaywalking charge would have killed that dead. Getting killed by a car paid out life insurance. Walking drunk didn't. She pulled a brown folder from her purse. Ray's lawyer was fresh out of school. 23 years old. First case. I kept my mouth shut and let Ray take the fall. The folder held bank papers, insurance payouts, a house deed dated 2 weeks after Ray went to prison. $150,000, Claire said. That's what Ray Donovan's life was worth to me. Brennan's phone buzzed. Message from Rodriguez. Federal Marshal here. Important. Claire started her car. Tell Ray something for me. Tell him Jim's last words were, "I'm sorry." I never understood until I saw that security film. He saw Ray's truck coming. He stepped into its path on purpose. The car pulled away, leaving exhaust hanging in the cold air. Brennan and Sarah ran back inside where Federal Marshal Janet Reeves stood beside Rodriguez, her badge catching the ceiling lights. The dog's name is Frost, Reeves said, showing them her computer screen. Check bloodline, trained for witness protection. Her handler got murdered 3 weeks back during a drug bust. The family she was protecting, a woman who testified against some real bad folks, was supposed to move to safety. Frost ran with her pups when the safe house got found out. And Donovan? Sarah asked. Wrong place. Right heart, seems like. Reeves scrolled through her files. Frost doesn't trust easy. She's trained to size up threats. If she stayed with him through that storm, she saw him as protector, not danger. Mayor Patricia Lerner came in without knocking. 4 town council members behind her. Their faces had that look folks get when paperwork's gone sideways. We're calling an emergency meeting. Lerner announced, Tonight, 8 o'clock. About what? Brennan asked. The Donovan situation. We need to vote on lifting his ban from town property. She paused. And there's the matter of his family's ranch. Sarah pulled up property records. Been in foreclosure since he went to prison. County auction next month. Not anymore, Lerner said. Anonymous donor just paid it off. Every cent. They want it turned into something called Second Chance Recovery Center. They specifically want Ray Donovan as caretaker. Who's the donor? Brennan asked. Lerner handed him a bank check. $10 million? The memo line read, For the man who chose 3 lives over his own comfort? Marshal Reeves studied the check. That's federal witness protection money. Somebody important is real grateful. Through the window, Brennan could see the hospital across the street, 3rd floor, intensive care. The lights were on in Ray's room. 3 shadows moved past the window, the dogs keeping watch. He doesn't know yet, Sarah said quiet-like. Ray, he doesn't know any of this. When he wakes up, Lerner said, he'll have a job offer. Full medical. Housing. Salary. The council vote is just going through the motions. Going through the motions, Brennan's voice had an edge. You folks banned him from buying groceries. Harold Murphy had to leave whiskey on his porch because you wouldn't let him in the store. The council members shifted around, uncomfortable-like. That was before. Before you found out he was innocent, or before somebody wrote a check. Lerner's phone rang. She listened, her face going white as fresh paper. There's trouble at the hospital. Ray Donovan just went into cardiac arrest. They reached the hospital lobby as the emergency alarm echoed down the halls, but the elevator was locked. Emergency rules. Stairs were all they had. As they climbed, Sarah's phone buzzed with a message from Patricia. Something's wrong. The dog started howling 30 seconds before his heart stopped. They knew. How did they know? Third floor. The intensive care doors were sealed shut. Through the thick glass, they could see the emergency team working on Ray. The dogs were pressed against the inside glass, their howls coming through even the soundproof walls. Then Frost did something that made everybody stop cold. She stood up on her back legs, put her paws on the glass, and started scratching a pattern. Not random scratching. Letters. The letters Frost scratched on the glass spelled out one word. Poison. Dr. Webb's hands stopped pressing Ray's chest. Through the glass wall, he saw Marshall Reeves pull her service pistol, checking every corner of the hallway. "Clear the floor," Reeves barked into her radio. "Nobody comes or goes." The emergency team went back to chest compressions. The monitor showed a flat line for 43 seconds, 44, 45. Patricia Coleman pushed another shot of heart medicine into Ray's arm tube. The bruises on his chest got darker with every push. "What poison?" Webb shouted through the glass. "We need to know what kind." Frost left the glass, moved straight to Ray's medicine bag hanging on the pole. She reared up, knocked it to the floor. The bag split open, clear liquid spreading across the floor tiles. Her pups backed away from the spill, fur standing up on their backs. "The medicine bag," Patricia breathed. "Somebody messed with. Get a new line in. Now. Different batch." Webb's gloves ripped from pushing so hard. "Sarah, check the pharmacy records. Who got to the medicine supplies?" Sarah Walker's fingers moved fast over the hospital computer. 3 people had access in the last hour, 2 nurses working their shift, and her finger stopped on the third name. Harold Murphy. The liquor store owner. Brennan grabbed his radio. "He's not hospital staff. His nephew works the pharmacy." Sarah pulled up security camera film on her phone. "Here. 40 minutes ago. Murphy going into the supply room. He's carrying something in his pocket." On the grainy screen, Murphy walked through the pharmacy door. When he came out 3 minutes later, his jacket pocket was empty. "Rodriguez, pick him up," Brennan ordered. "Can't. He left town 20 minutes back. Said family emergency," the monitor screamed. 59 seconds flatlined. 60. Frost pressed her nose to the floor where the medicine had spilled. She sniffed once, then started that low howl again, not sad this time. She recognized that smell. "Antifreeze," Patricia said sudden-like. "She's smelling antifreeze." Webb switched what he was doing right away. "Get me the antidote, now, and get the kidney machine ready." 71 seconds flatlined. The elevator dinged. Claire Morrison stumbled out, still in her house clothes. "I heard the emergency. Is he—" "Mrs. Morrison," Marshall Reeves stepped in front of her. "Did your husband have life insurance through his work?" "What? Yes, the mill gave." "The mill Harold Murphy's brother owns." Claire's face went white as milk. "Harold witnessed the papers. He signed them official-like." 88 seconds flatlined. Patricia found the antidote, pushed it through the new medicine line. The other nurse got the kidney machine ready, her hands shaking as she set it up. "Come on, Ray," Webb muttered, sweat dripping on Ray's chest. "You lived through 3 days of hell. Don't quit now." 96 seconds. One blip on the monitor, then nothing. 104 seconds. Another blip. "Got him?" Webb said. "Got a heartbeat." But the rhythm was wrong. Too fast, heart racing from the antidote fighting the poison. Ray's body shook all over. The dogs pressed against the glass, whimpering. Sarah's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "This about Ray Donovan?" Man's voice, nervous. "Who is this?" "Thompson. I own the ranch next to the Donovan place. I lied about the sheep. Harold Murphy paid me $500 to say those dogs were killers. Said it would help settle an old debt." "What debt?" "From 2014. Something about Jim Morrison owing money to the wrong folks. Harold said Ray taking the blame was supposed to square it, but then Ray got out early for good behavior." "Harold said," Thompson's voice cracked. "He said Ray living was bad for business." The monitor steadied. Weak but regular heartbeat. Ray's chest rose on its own, pulling air without help. Frost stood perfectly still, watching. Just the tip of her tail moved once. Not quite a wag. More like saying, good enough? We need those pharmacy records, Brennan said. Every medicine bag Murphy touched, already got them. Sarah held up the computer. 17 patients got bags from that batch in the last 30 minutes. 17 folks with poison dripping into their veins right now. The emergency alarm sounded again. Different room. Then another. Room 302 inches, the overhead speaker crackled. Emergency room 319. Emergency room 284. Webb looked at the puddle of poisoned medicine on the floor. At Frost, still standing guard. At Ray, breathing but not awake yet. He didn't just poison Ray, Patricia whispered. He poisoned everybody. Patricia Coleman grabbed medicine bottles from the crash cart, only 6 bottles of antidote left, 17 poisoned patients. The arithmetic made her stomach drop. Kidney machines, Dr. Webb barked. How many working? 4, the head nurse answered. One's broke down for fixing. Emergency alarms overlapped, making one long wail. Webb's shirt was soaked clean through with sweat. Who got their medicine first? Sarah Walker scrolled the pharmacy records. Mrs. Chen in 302 sugar diabetes. Medicine running 2 hours. Mr. Garcia, 319 kidney surgery, 90 minutes. Tommy Richardson, children's ward. Children's. Webb's face went gray. How old? 7, Marshal Reeves spoke into her radio. State police. I need roadblocks on every road out of Glacier County. Harold Murphy, white male, 63, driving a blue Chevrolet pickup. Frost suddenly left Ray's bedside. She pushed through the doors. Nobody tried stopping her. Her pups followed. She moved down the hall with purpose, nose up high, testing the air. Room 302. She scratched at the door. Patricia ran in. Found Mrs. Chen's medicine bag, sniffed at her self-sweet smell. Barely there. This one's bad. Frost was already moving. Room 319. Another scratch. She's finding them, Brennan said. She can smell the antifreeze through the bags. They followed Frost's path. 7 bad bags in adult intensive care. 3 in the heart ward, 2 in children's. The dogs moved like they had a job to do. Frost teaching her pups the smell, their little noses learning what death smelled like. Patricia's phone rang. Coleman here. It's Rodriguez. Found Murphy's truck left at mile marker 91. Engine still warm. Footprints heading into the woods. That's 3 miles from the Donovan Ranch, Brennan said. Sarah pulled up property maps on her computer. There's an old moonshine still in those woods. Jim Morrison and Harold Murphy ran it together back in the 90s. He's going where he knows the land, Reeves said. In the children's ward. 7-year-old Tommy Richardson's monitor started beeping bad. His mother pressed herself against the wall as the emergency team rushed in. Frost did something nobody expected. She lay down beside the boy's bed, pressing her warm body against the metal frame. A low sound came from her throat, not quite howling, more like a lullaby old folks used to hum. The boy's small hand found her fur. Kidney machine coming, a nurse shouted. Only 3 bottles of antidote left. 14 patients still needing it. Claire Morrison appeared in the doorway, breathing hard. I know where Harold keeps his real records. What records? Brennan asked. The Morrison family debts. Jim didn't just owe money. Him and Harold were partners in something. Insurance cheating. Been doing it for years. Fake accidents, false claims. Ray's accident wasn't random. Jim stepped in front of that truck on purpose. They needed somebody to blame. And Ray had been drinking at Murphy's store an hour before. You saying your husband killed himself to frame Ray Donovan? No. He was supposed to jump clear, make it look close, but he was drunker than planned, got the timing wrong. Claire pulled keys from her pocket. Harold's basement, behind the whiskey shelf. There's a safe. Webb came out of Tommy's room. Boys steady, but we're out of antidote. Nearest hospital with more, Reeves asked. Kalispell. 3 hours in this weather? Helicopter. Can't fly. Blizzard's getting worse. Through the window, snow fell harder, erasing everything past the glass. Temperature gauge read 28 below. Frost left Tommy's bedside, went back to Ray's room. She stood beside his unconscious body, then did something that made everybody stop. She put her paw on his chest right over his heart. Her pups did the same. two small paws joining their mother's. Ray's eyes moved under closed lids. His fingers twitched. "He's coming around," Webb said, checking Ray's eyes with a light. "Working through the antidote faster than expected." Ray's lips moved, no sound at first, then a whisper. "The still?" "What?" Patricia leaned closer. "Murphy's still. He makes antifreeze, sells it. Under the table, methanol and the other stuff." Ray's eyes cracked open, not focused yet. "Barrels of it, hidden at the old Morrison place." Brennan grabbed his radio. "All units to the Morrison moonshine site. Dangerous chemical rules. Suspect is making poison." Ray's hand found Frost's fur. "Good girl. You found them all?" The dog's tail moved a real wag this time. "Ray," Sarah said soft-like, "there's something else. The donors. The ranch. Your job." "Murphy's got a rifle." Ray cut her off, his voice getting stronger. "Remington 700. Saw it in his truck last week. He's military trained. Vietnam. Don't let him get high ground." Through the window, somebody came out of the trees across the hospital parking lot, just for a second, before going back into the woods, but long enough for Reeves to see the rifle barrel. "He's not running," she said. "He's coming back." Marshal Reeves's radio crackled. "Movement, northwest corner, parking garage, third level," through the intensive care window. Harold Murphy's shape moved between concrete posts. The Remington 700's barrel caught light from the hospital's outside floods. "He's setting up position," Reeves said, her service pistol already out. 800 yards. That rifle can reach." Ray Donovan pushed himself up, medicine tubes pulling tight. The heart monitor jumped pulse at 120 climbing. His legs shook as bare feet touched the cold floor. "You're not going anywhere." Dr. Webb pushed him back down. "Your potassium levels are dangerous. Your heart could—" "Murphy's got to tell." Ray's voice came out rough, like sandpaper. "When he's about to shoot, he shifts weight to his back foot. Learned it duck hunting together. Before—" His eyes found Reeves. "Southwest stairwell has no windows." "He can't cover it." Patricia Coleman checked her phone. "Rodriguez and 3 cars are 2 minutes out." "Too long," Reeves said. The parking garage gave Murphy clear sight to every door. "He's not here to escape. This is his last stand." Sarah Walker pointed at the security screen. "Look." Murphy had set himself perfect, covering the main door, emergency door, and ambulance entrance. A plastic gallon jug sat beside him. Even through the fuzzy picture, the liquid inside looked wrong, blue-green color. "More antifreeze," Brennan said. "Enough to poison the whole water system." Ray's hand found Frost's head. The dog's muscles were tight, ready, her pups pressed against her legs, feeling their mother's tension. "The moonshine still," Ray said. "If Murphy's been making antifreeze there, the whole place is poisoned. Soil, groundwater, it'll leak into Sawyer Creek. That feeds the town reservoir." "How many people drink that water?" Reeves asked. 12,000, Sarah answered. "Through the window?" Murphy stood up. He'd tied the gallon jug to his belt. The rifle came up to his shoulder. "Everybody down," Reeves shouted. The window exploded. Safety glass scattered like hail across the floor. Cold wind screamed through the hole, dropping the room temperature 20 degrees right away. Frost threw herself at Ray, knocking him behind the bed. Her pups followed, making a wall with their bodies. Glass crunched under their paws, leaving bloody prints. Second shot punched through the medicine pole where Ray's head had been. "He's not aiming at me," Ray said, knowing the pattern. "He's cutting off the medicine carts." Third shot destroyed the medicine cabinet. Antidote bottles shattered, medicine pooling useless on the floor. Patricia crawled army-style to the supply closet. "Backup medicines in the basement pharmacy. That's what he wants," Ray said. "Pull everybody away from the patients." The monitor in room 302 went flat. Mrs. Chen. Webb started to stand. A bullet sparked off the doorframe inches from his head. "I can get to her," Patricia said. "He'll shoot you soon as you go in that room." Reeves said. Ray studied where the bullets hit, the pattern. "No, he's right-handed, shooting from a braced position. Can't turn more than 40 degrees without showing himself to the southwest stairs. There's a blind spot." He traced a path on the floor with his finger, marking it in his own blood from the glass cuts. "Stay below the windows. Hug the east wall. You got 18 inches of cover." Patricia looked at the path, at Mrs. Chen's room. at Ray. You sure? I've sat in that exact spot. Deer stand, 15 years back. Jim Morrison built it. Patricia dropped flat, started crawling. The wind through the broken window covered the sound of her moving. She reached Mrs. Chen's door, disappeared inside. The flatline stopped. Chest compressions starting. Tommy Richardson's crashing, a nurse called from children's ward. Sarah's computer lit up with an emergency warning. Water plant sensors just went off. Antifreeze detected in the intake stream. He already dumped poison upstream, Brennan said. When? Reeves demanded. Ray closed his eyes. Thinking. The antifreeze in his truck, 20 gallons missing from what I saw last week. This temperature, water flow rate. His eyes opened. 4 hours ago, it's already in the pipes, through the broken window. Murphy stood again. Not aiming this time, he held a road flare in one hand, the gallon jug in the other. He poured the antifreeze over himself, soaking his clothes. Lord help us, Patricia whispered from Mrs. Chen's doorway. He's going to burn himself. No, Ray said. He's going to jump 9 floors onto the main door. Burning. During shift change. Most people hurt, most poison spread. The flare sparked to life. Orange flame reflected off the snow, off the concrete, off Murphy's soaked clothes. Frost moved before anybody could stop her. She burst through the doors, her pups right behind, not toward the exits, toward the southwest stairs. The blind spot. The dogs, Sarah breathed. They're going after him. Ray rolled off the bed, his knees bent but held. The heart monitor screamed warnings as he ripped the sticky pads off his chest. His frostbit feet left bloody marks on the glass-covered floor. Ray, don't, Webb started. But Ray was already moving, following where Frost had gone. Not running, he couldn't run, but moving with the same will that kept him alive 3 days in 40 below weather. Reeves followed, pistol ready. Through the stairwell door, they heard claws on concrete, climbing fast. Above them, a man's scream echoed down. Not pain, surprise. The flare clattered down the stairs, bouncing off the rails, throwing wild shadows, then quiet except for the wind. Ray's frostbit feet struck concrete stairs, each step sending lightning up his legs. 7 flights, his lungs burned, pulling air that tasted of antifreeze fumes drifting down. Behind him, Marshal Reeves's boots kept steady time, her breathing controlled, trained. 5th floor, wet splatter on the landing, blood, fresh, not human blood, paw print in the middle, already cooling. One of the pups is hurt, Ray said, reading the spray. 6th floor, the antifreeze smell got stronger. Through the stairwell window, blue-green liquid dripped from the parking garage edge, staining the snow below. 7th floor, the metal door to the parking deck hung open. Wind screamed through, carrying snow sideways. Ray pressed against the doorframe. Looking out, Harold Murphy stood 20 feet away. Back to them. The Remington 700 dropped at his feet, his soaked clothes whipped in the wind. The flare was gone, but he held a Zippo lighter in his shaking right hand. Frost had Murphy's left ankle in her jaws, not attacking, holding. Her grip just right, teeth going through just enough to anchor but not tear. Murphy couldn't step forward without dragging 90 pounds of German Shepherd. One pup circled behind him, limping, blood on its left shoulder. The other pup had Murphy's shirt sleeve, tiny teeth locked, adding its 12 pounds to the hold. "Call them off, Ray," Murphy said without turning, his thumb on the Zippo wheel. "Or we all burn." "Can't call off what isn't mine," Ray said, stepping onto the deck, ice under his bare feet. "They make their own choices. Like you made yours letting Jim die?" "Jim was dead soon as he stepped off that curb." Ray's voice held no anger, just tired. His heart gave out from the shock, not the hit. Murphy's thumb pressed harder on the lighter. "You were supposed to hit him clean, make it look real." Reeves raised her pistol. "Mr. Murphy, drop the lighter. Insurance was supposed to set us up for life." Murphy went on, not listening. "Jim's family, my family. Clean money from a dirty accident, but you swerved." "I was drunk," Ray said. "Body just reacted. You ruined everything. 10 years of planning. The moonshine was just to raise money. The insurance was the real game." Murphy's left hand reached for the jug still tied to his belt. You know what antifreeze does inside a body? Ray turns to acid, makes crystals in the kidneys. The brain? Pretty crystals, like snowflakes, tearing you apart from inside. A sound came from Frost's throat, not a growl, deeper, the sound a mother makes when her baby's bleeding. Those 17 people in the hospital, Murphy said. They're dying right now. The water plant's poisoned. By tomorrow, half the county will be... You're lying, Sarah Walker's voice came through Reeves's radio. Water plant just checked. The poison's stuck in the intake pool. Main water's clean. Your 20 gallons got watered down too much in the creek. Murphy's shoulders dropped. The Zippo shook. It's over, Harold, Ray said, taking another step forward. Glass from the broken window crunched under his foot, pushing shards deeper. Those patients will make it. The town will make it. But I won't. Murphy flicked the Zippo. Once. Twice. The flint sparked but didn't catch too wet from antifreeze fumes. Prison. At my age, after what I did to those kids. Tommy Richardson's steady, Reeves said. All 17 patients are getting better. Murphy laugh sounded like ice breaking. You think this was about killing them? No. It was about making Ray choose. Save the dogs or save the people. Watch him pick animals over humans. Prove what I always said, he's not a hero, just a drunk who got lucky. Except I didn't have to choose, Ray said. The dogs chose for me. Frost's grip on Murphy's ankle tightened just a hair. The man winced, tried to pull free. The mother dog's jaw locked harder. Her hurt pup stopped circling, sat right behind Murphy's knees. If he stepped back, he'd fall. Smart animals, Ray said. They smell the antifreeze on you. Know you're poisoned too. Skin soaks it up. You've been handling it without gloves. Your hands are already numb, aren't they? Murphy looked at his right hand. The Zippo slipped from fingers he couldn't feel anymore. How long? Murphy asked. 6 hours. Maybe 8, without the kidney machine. The machines are all being used. They'll free up. People get better faster than you think. Murphy tried another step toward the edge. Frost pulled back, her strong back legs digging into the concrete. The hurt pup grabbed Murphy's other ankle. The third pup came out from behind a concrete post, carrying something in its mouth. Tommy Richardson's teddy bear. The boy must have given it to the dog. The pup set it at Murphy's feet, then looked up with yellow-brown eyes that held no judgment. Just waiting. Even now, Murphy said, staring at the stuffed bear. Even knowing what I am, they won't let me jump. They know what you did, Ray said. They just don't care. You're packed now. Soon as you fed them that first time, years back, behind your store. Remember before Jim died? Before everything went bad? You used to save the old lunch meat. Murphy's knees gave out, not from weakness, from remembering. He sat hard on the concrete, and Frost right away let go of his ankle. She moved to his side, pressing her warm body against his soaked clothes. Her pups joined her, making the same circle they'd made around Ray. I don't deserve this, Murphy whispered. Neither did I, Ray said. But they stayed anyway. Reeves holstered her pistol, pulled out handcuffs. As she got close, Murphy raised his numb hands. The cuffs clicked shut. Harold Murphy, you're under arrest for attempted murder, 17 counts, poisoning public water, insurance fraud conspiracy. Rodriguez's voice crackled through the radio. We found the still. There's something else here, something you need to see. What is it? Reeves asked. Bones. Human bones. Been here at least 10 years. Ray felt the temperature drop not from the storm, from knowing. Jim Morrison was supposed to die that night, Ray said slow. But who was supposed to die before him? The moonshine still sat in a hollow between two ridges. Hidden under rusty metal sheets and old camouflage netting, Deputy Rodriguez stood beside a shallow dip in the frozen ground, his flashlight beam catching on something white sticking up from the dirt. Ray's bare feet had gone numb on the ride here. He'd refused shoes, refused to go back to the hospital. The ambulance driver, Maria Gonzalez, had wrapped them in gauze and thermal blankets, but blood still seeped through. He walked anyway, each step pressing deeper into snow that came up past his shins. Detective Brennan knelt beside the dip, his gloved fingers brushed away loose dirt, showing the smooth curve of a skull. A gold tooth caught the light, lower left molar, backside. Tommy Nguyen, Ray said right away. Went missing October 2013. You knew him? Brennan asked. Delivered propane. Last stop was always Murphy's store. Ray's breath made fog in the cold. Harold reported him as a no-show, said Tommy probably ran off with the cash deposits. Marshall Reeves took pictures, her camera flash turning the snow blue-white. Why would Morrison and Murphy kill a delivery driver? Test run, Ray said, studying how the bones lay. Jim had been talking about insurance tricks for years, small claims at first, fake slip and falls, but he wanted something bigger. So they killed him, Brennan said. Practiced the murder before the insurance plan. No, Ray shook his head. Look at the skull position, the angle. Tommy fell backward. Surprised, if they'd planned to kill him, he'd be face down. This was panic. Frost appeared from behind Ray, her hurt pup carried gentle in her jaws. She set it in the snow, then started circling the gravesite. Her nose worked the ground in a pattern steady. Trained. She stopped at another dip 15 feet away. There's another one, Rodriguez said. This skull was smaller, the bones more delicate. A silver bracelet still circled the wrist bones, tarnished but readable. Sarah Jane forever loved. Sarah Jane Mitchell, Claire whispered. Jim's first wife. Ray's legs gave out. He sat hard in the snow, staring at the bones of a woman he'd never met but whose death had shaped everything. She didn't leave him. He said she ran off with somebody from Billings. When? Reeves asked. August 2009, Claire said. 3 months before Jim and I started courting. The forensics team arrived, setting up lights that turned night into harsh day. Each bone got numbered, photographed, measured. The antifreeze barrels, 53 of them, made a ring around the graves. Murphy and Morrison had been making poison on top of their victims for more than 10 years. Dr. Webb showed up, medical bag in hand. He'd followed them from the hospital. Ray, your potassium levels? Test the bones for antifreeze. Ray cut him off. The stuff binds to calcium. It'll still be in the marrow. Webb knelt beside Ray, checking his pulse. Your heart's at 140. I need to finish this. Ray's eyes stayed on the graves. 14 years of lies end tonight. Sarah Walker's computer chimed. State lab rushed the medicine bag tests. Every poison bag came from the same lot number, made 3 months ago. Murphy's been planning this 3 months? Brennan asked. No, Ray said. He's been planning since I got out. The poisoning was meant for the Christmas festival. Most casualties. But then the dogs showed up. Frost had moved to a third spot, pawing at the frozen ground. Her pups watched, learning their mother's work, even hurt. The smallest pup copied what she did. How many more? Rodriguez asked. Ray stood, his legs shaking but holding. Check missing persons reports, 2009 to 2014. Anyone who dealt regular with Murphy's store or the Morrison property. That's dozens of folks, Sarah said, already pulling records. No, just the ones who ask questions, who notice things. Ray walked to where Frost was digging. Jim kept trophies. Murphy kept receipts. They thought they were being smart. A helicopter's blades echoed through the valley. Searchlights swept the trees. Federal backup. Finally here. But the real work was already done by a drunk everybody hated, 3 dogs everybody feared, and bones that waited 14 years to tell their story. Harold Murphy sat in the back of Reeves's car, handcuffed, shivering even with the heat on. Through the window, Ray could see him watching the digging. Each bone lifted from the earth made Murphy sink deeper into the seat. Mr. Donovan. Mayor Patricia Lerner appeared, town council members beside her. We need to talk about your situation. My situation's clear, Ray said. I'm a convicted felon who just helped solve murders. Doesn't change what I did to Jim. But Jim was trying to die, Lerner said. Claire's testimony. Doesn't matter. I was drunk. I was driving. He died. Ray's frostbit fingers found Frost's fur. I spent 10 years paying for 30 seconds of bad judgment. That's justice. The town council voted, Lerner went on. Unanimous. Your ban's lifted. The ranch is yours. The recovery center money's approved. Ray looked at the graves, at the bones being carefully lifted out. These folks need names first. Families need to know. We'll handle that, Brennan said. You need medical attention. But Ray was watching Frost. She'd stopped digging, her head raised, ears forward, listening to something human ears couldn't hear. Her pups copied her, same position. Someone's coming, Ray said. Through the trees, headlights bounced over the rough trail. Not police cars too fancy. 3 black SUVs with government plates pulled into the clearing. A woman stepped out of the lead car. Mid-30s, business suit strange in the Montana woods. She held a computer screen, glowing with official seals. Mr. Donovan, I'm Director Angela Foster. Federal Witness Protection. We need to discuss the dogs. Frost moved between Ray and the director. Protective stance. They're going back into service, Ray asked. That was the plan. Foster looked at Frost. At the protective circle she and her pups had made around Ray. But there's been a development. The family Frost was protecting, they specifically requested she stay with you. I'm nobody's idea of protection. You kept her alive in conditions that would have killed trained handlers. You identified 17 poisoning victims through her behavior. You solved murders the FBI didn't even know happened. Foster pulled up a document on her screen. There's a program, retired police dogs with special training, paired with folks running recovery facilities. Federal money, full medical support, handler training included. You want me to run a recovery center with federal dogs? We want you to save lives. Mr. Donovan, human and dog both, the way you've been doing. Ray looked down at Frost. She looked back. Yellow-brown eyes steady. Her hurt pup pressed against his leg, leaving blood on his hospital gown. The third pup sat on his bare foot, warming it. The bones, Ray said. All of them. They get identified first, proper burials. Their families get answers. Agreed, Foster said. And Murphy. A gunshot cracked through the night. Not from the cars, from inside Reeves's car. The gunshot came from Murphy's own hidden Derringer, the one nobody thought to check. He'd turned it on himself. The bullet entering under his jaw. Blood painted the patrol car window in patterns Ray would see behind his eyelids for years. But Harold Murphy lived. The angle was wrong. The powder old. The bullet lodging in his sinus instead of his brain. Ray held pressure on the wound while waiting for medics, his frostbit hand steady despite everything. Murphy's eyes stayed conscious, confused why Ray would save him. Because, Ray whispered, somebody has to break the cycle. 6 months later, Murphy testified from his wheelchair, identifying 17 more graves. The recovery center opened that fall. Frost trained the therapy dogs. Ray taught folks that redemption comes not from forgetting what you've done, but from choosing what you'll do next. Disclaimer. This work of fiction is inspired by stories of redemption and community healing, created solely for entertainment purposes. This narrative does not condone, encourage, or promote any form of violence, self-harm, or harmful behavior toward humans or animals. All characters and events are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental.